My friend, so many people spend their whole life searching for balance. They think if they can just keep everything equal, their work, their health, their family, their dreams, then somehow life will feel right. But let me tell you something. Balance is often an illusion. What you really need is focus. Think about it. A farmer doesn't plant a little corn, a little wheat, a little barley all at the same time and expect a great harvest. No, he focuses. He plants the corn, tends to it, gives it his energy, his water, his care, and because of that focus, he reaps an abundant harvest. Life works the same way. If you scatter your energy in too many directions, you'll never have enough power in one place to make real progress. Balance sounds comfortable, but it rarely produces greatness. Focus, however, creates momentum. Maybe you're trying to build a business. Maybe you're trying to get in shape. Maybe you're trying to learn a skill. If you only give it a little time here and a little attention there, you'll be waiting for years to see results. But if you focus, if you give it disciplined effort day after day, you'll be amazed at how quickly things change. Here's the key. Focus doesn't mean you neglect what matters. It means you prioritize. You decide what deserves your best energy right now, and you give it everything you've got. Later, you can shift your focus to something else. But in this season, you concentrate. Don't be fooled by the idea that you must keep every plate spinning perfectly. What matters most is that you make progress in the areas that define your future. Balance might keep you comfortable, but focus will make you powerful. So choose your focus, protect it, guard it, pour your energy into it. And one day, you'll look back not at a life of balance, but at a life of achievement, fulfillment, and purpose. People talk about balance as if it is the magic formula for a happy and successful life. They say, I just need more balance between my work and my personal life, between my health and my relationships, between rest and productivity. And on the surface, it sounds wise. It sounds attractive. Who doesn't want a balanced life where everything feels steady, controlled, and under perfect management? But here's the truth, my friend. Balance is often an illusion. Think about it for a moment. Life is not a perfectly balanced scale where you can keep everything equal at all times. If you try to give every area of your life the exact same amount of attention, you'll soon realize that nothing gets the depth of effort it deserves. Imagine pouring water into 10 cups, but you only have a single glass of water. If you try to fill all 10 cups equally, none of them will be full enough to drink from. That's what balance does. It spreads you thin. It makes you average at many things instead of excellent at one thing. When you study the lives of people who achieve greatness, you rarely find balance. You find focus. An Olympic athlete doesn't say, well, I want balance, so I'll train for 1 hour, rest for 1 hour, party for 1 hour, and watch TV for 1 hour. No, that athlete focuses. They dedicate their days, their energy, and their entire mindset toward one purpose, becoming the best in their sport. Now, to some people, that might look unbalanced, but the reward of their focus is extraordinary achievement. Balance can also become an excuse. People say, I can't push too hard right now, I need balance. But many times what they really mean is, I don't want to be uncomfortable. I don't want to stretch myself. I want to stay safe. The truth is, if you want to achieve something worthwhile, there will be seasons of your life that feel unbalanced. If you're starting a new business, it may require long hours, extra learning, and sacrifices. If you're working on your health, you might spend more time at the gym than you do with friends for a while. And that's okay, because that season of focus is what creates results. Now, I'm not saying you should ignore your family, your health, or your relationships. That's not wisdom. But what I am saying is that you must understand priorities. Life moves in seasons. In one season, you may need to give more attention to your career. In another, to your family. In another, to your health. But never think you can give equal attention to everything at once and still expect excellence. That's why balance, as most people define it, is just an illusion. Here's the better way. Trade balance for presence. When you are working, be fully focused on your work. When you are with your family, be fully present with them. When you are taking care of your health, give it your best energy. Instead of spreading yourself thin trying to balance everything at once, live with focus in each moment. That's where fulfillment and progress meet. Remember, balance may keep you safe, but focus makes you successful. Balance gives you comfort, but focus gives you growth. And growth is what leads to the life you truly want. So the next time you feel pressured to find balance, remind yourself, balance is not the goal. Progress is, excellence is, fulfillment is. And all of those things come not from being perfectly balanced, but from being powerfully focused. Progress in life doesn't come by accident, and it certainly doesn't come from spreading yourself too thin. Progress comes from focus. When you concentrate your energy, your time, and your attention on one meaningful goal, you begin to see movement. And that movement, my friend, is progress. Let's use a simple picture. Imagine the sun shining on a piece of paper. Nothing happens. The light is scattered, soft, pleasant, but powerless. Now take a magnifying glass and hold it steady. Suddenly that same light, focused in one place, has the power to burn through the paper. The light didn't change, only the focus did. That's the secret of progress. Many people confuse activity with progress. They are busy all day long, jumping from one task to another, answering messages, attending meetings, scrolling through their phones, trying to keep up with everything. At the end of the day, they collapse into bed, exhausted. But if you ask them what real progress they made toward their dreams, the answer is often a not much. Why? Because their energy was scattered. Their time was diluted. They were active, but they weren't focused. Progress comes when you decide, this is the most important thing right now, and you give it your full attention. It doesn't mean you ignore everything else in your life. It means you direct your best energy toward what matters most. If you're trying to build a business, make that your main focus. If you're improving your health, let that be your focus. If you're learning a new skill, dedicate real time to it every single day. That focused energy builds momentum, and momentum creates progress. Here's another truth. Focus multiplies effort. A person who works with half focus may need 10 years to achieve what a focused person can do in 2. Why? Because focus cuts through distraction. It reduces wasted time. It channels your energy like a river flowing in one direction, powerful and unstoppable. Think about how you learned to walk as a child. You didn't practice one day, then switched to swimming the next, then try to master reading the following day. No. You focused on walking. You tried, you fell, you got up again, you stumbled, you tried again. And because of that focus, you made progress until one day you were walking with ease. That's how progress works in every area of life. Some people ask, but isn't it boring to focus on just one thing? The truth is, focus doesn't limit you, it frees you. When you focus, you actually finish things. You get results, and when results come, they open doors. They create opportunities. You'll have time for new things because you actually completed the first one. Scattered people rarely finish, and therefore rarely progress. Here's the best part. Progress itself becomes fuel. When you start seeing results, even small ones, they inspire you to keep going. You feel stronger, more motivated, more confident. But without focus, you rarely see results, and without results, you lose motivation. That's why so many people quit. They never gave themselves enough focus to experience real progress. So my advice is simple. Pick your most important goal. Eliminate the distractions that drain your time and scatter your energy. Then give that goal-focused attention every single day. Do this for weeks, then months, and then years. Look back, and you'll be amazed at the progress you've made. Remember, my friends, scattered effort leaves you standing still, but focused effort moves you forward. Focus is the difference between dreams that remain wishes and dreams that become reality. And once you experience the power of progress, you'll never want to live without it again. Every single one of us is given a measure of energy each day. You wake up in the morning with a certain amount of mental energy, physical energy, and emotional energy. What you choose to do with that energy will determine the direction of your life. The truth is, energy by itself is not enough. Energy must be directed. Think of electricity. Electricity has incredible power, but if it's scattered, if it's uncontrolled, it's dangerous and wasted. The same electricity, when directed through a wire, can light up a city, power a hospital, or run a factory. The power was always there. The difference was in the direction. Life works the same way. Many people have the energy, the potential, the drive, but because it is scattered, it doesn't produce results. I've met people who are busy from sunrise to sunset. They're constantly in motion, answering calls, checking emails, running errands, attending meetings, even helping others. At the end of the day, they're completely drained. But when you ask, well, what did you accomplish today toward your goals? They hesitate. Why? Because their energy was spent, but it wasn't directed. They poured it everywhere except where it mattered most. Here's the principle. Undirected energy leads to exhaustion, but directed energy leads to achievement. It's not about how much effort you give. It's about where you place that effort. If you direct your energy into the wrong things, you'll feel busy but remain stuck. But if you direct it into the right things, the things that align with your goals and values, you'll make powerful progress. Let's take an example. Imagine a gardener watering his yard. If he sprays water randomly all over the concrete, the driveway, and the street, most of the water is wasted. But if he directs that same water to the roots of his plants, the garden thrives. Your energy works the same way. Scatter it, and it disappears. Direct it, and it feeds growth. Now, directing energy requires clarity. You have to know what you want. Too many people waste energy because they haven't decided where they're going. If you don't have a clear destination, your energy gets pulled in every direction by distractions, obligations, and the urgent but unimportant tasks of life. But when you know your destination, when you know what matters, you can aim your energy like an arrow toward that target. This is where discipline comes in. Every day, you're given choices on how to spend your energy. Will you use it scrolling through social media or building your dream? Will you use it arguing with people who don't matter or learning skills that will change your future? Will you use it chasing comfort or building character? Your energy is precious. Don't waste it. Direct it. There's also a hidden benefit to directed energy. It compounds. When you direct your energy consistently toward one goal day after day, the results begin to stack up. Small actions become habits. Habits build momentum. Momentum creates breakthroughs. That's how ordinary people achieve extraordinary results, not by having more energy than others, but by directing the energy they do have. So ask yourself daily, where am I directing my energy today? Am I wasting it on what doesn't matter, or am I channeling it into something that will shape my future? Remember, my friend, energy is a gift, but it is not unlimited. You cannot afford to waste it on everything and everyone. Direct it wisely, and it will build the life you dream of. Scatter it carelessly, and it will leave you tired, frustrated, and standing still. Life is full of responsibilities. Work, family, health, relationships, learning, rest, the list never ends. And most people try to handle it all at once. They tell themselves they don't want to neglect anything, so I'll give a little bit to everything. But the result? Nothing gets the attention it really deserves. That's why the principle is this: prioritize, don't neglect. You see, prioritizing doesn't mean abandoning. It doesn't mean you stop caring about certain parts of your life. It simply means you choose what deserves your best energy right now. That's the difference between successful people and those who remain stuck. Imagine you're building a house. You can't work on the roof, the windows, and the furniture all at the same time. First, you must lay the foundation. Then you build the walls. Then you add the roof. Each stage requires focus and attention. If you try to do it all at once, the house will collapse. Life is no different. You must know what stage you are in, and then prioritize accordingly. The danger is when people confuse prioritizing with neglect. For example, someone says, I'm building my business right now, so I can't care for my health. But what happens if you neglect your health for too long? You won't have the strength to keep building. Or someone says, I'm focused on my career, so I don't have time for my family. But what happens if you neglect your relationships? You may succeed in business, but fail at home. That's not real success. The wisdom is to prioritize without neglect. This means you identify the one or two areas that need the majority of your attention, but you still maintain the essentials in the others. If business is your focus, give it the best of your time, but don't abandon your health. Eat well, move your body, rest. Don't abandon your family. Spend quality time, even if it's not quantity right now. If health is your focus, train hard and eat right, but don't neglect your work or your responsibilities. Balance is not possible, but presence in priorities is. Here's the truth. Priorities shift with seasons. In one season, your career may demand more of you. In another, your family may need more attention. In another, your health may become the top priority. Wisdom is knowing what season you're in and adjusting accordingly. Think of a juggler. If he tries to juggle 10 balls at once, they'll all fall. But if he chooses 3, he can keep them in motion. That's prioritizing. He didn't throw away the other balls forever. He just set them aside for now. When he's ready, he can rotate. That's how life works. Another key is to remember that not all tasks are equal. Some things look urgent but aren't important. For example, checking every notification on your phone feels urgent, but it's rarely important. Spending time with your child before bed may not scream for your attention, but it's deeply important. Successful people learn to distinguish between the two. They give their best energy to what matters most. So ask yourself daily, what is my highest priority right now? What deserves my best energy? And what can wait? This practice alone can transform your productivity, your relationships, and your future. Remember, my friend, you don't need to do everything at once. You need to do the right things at the right time. Prioritize without neglect. Protect what's essential. Focus on what matters most today, and you'll build a life that stands strong tomorrow. Focus sounds powerful, but without discipline, it quickly fades. Discipline is the fuel that keeps focus alive. Anyone can be inspired for a moment. Anyone can work hard for a day, but it takes discipline to keep showing up day after day, even when motivation runs out. That's why I say discipline fuels focus. Think of discipline as the guardrail for your energy. Focus tells you where to go, but discipline keeps you on the path. Without discipline, distractions will steal your time, emotions will control your actions, and comfort will rob your progress. But with discipline, you can direct your energy consistently toward your goals until they become reality. Let's use an example. Imagine a man who decides to get in shape. He's focused on his health. He sets a goal. He buys the gym clothes. For the first week, he's excited. He goes every day. But then the excitement fades. Work gets busy. Friends invite him out. The couch starts looking more comfortable than the treadmill. Without discipline, his focus disappears, and so do his results. But with discipline, he says, no matter how I feel, I'm going to show up. And because he shows up consistently, the results eventually come. That's the power of discipline. Discipline is often misunderstood. Some people think it means punishment. Others think it means living without joy. But true discipline is not punishment. It's training. It's teaching yourself to do what you know you should do, even when it's not easy. Discipline doesn't steal freedom, it creates it. The disciplined person can achieve what the undisciplined can only wish for. Here's another truth. Discipline builds strength. Every time you practice discipline, you strengthen your willpower. It's like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. The first time you resist distraction, it's hard. The first time you wake up early, it feels painful. The first time you choose study over entertainment, it takes effort. But each time you do it, discipline grows easier. Soon it becomes part of your character. Focus without discipline is like a car without fuel. You know where you want to go, but you won't get far. Discipline provides the daily fuel that moves you forward. It turns big dreams into small steps into big results. Now, how do you build discipline? First, by making clear commitments. Decide what matters and commit to it fully. Second, by creating routines that support your goals. Don't rely on feelings, rely on systems. If your goal is health, set a workout time and stick to it like an appointment. If your goal is business, set aside daily hours to work on it. Third, by holding yourself accountable. Write it down, tell someone, or track your progress. Whatever it takes to stay honest with yourself. Remember, discipline isn't about being perfect. You will stumble. You will miss a day. Okay? The key is to return quickly. A disciplined person doesn't quit when they fail. They get back up and try again. Consistency, not perfection, is what wins. Here's the beautiful thing. Once you develop discipline in one area, it spreads. Discipline in fitness builds discipline in business. Discipline in learning builds discipline in relationships. It becomes part of who you are. So my friend, let me say it again. Discipline fuels focus. Without discipline, your focus will fade with your feelings. But with discipline, your focus will grow stronger each day. And in time, that combination of focus and discipline will take you farther than you ever imagined. Success has many ingredients, but one of the greatest is focus. When you focus, you create achievement. It doesn't matter how smart you are, how talented you are, even how much potential you carry inside of you. Without focus, all of that remains hidden. But when you choose to direct your time, your energy, and your will toward one meaningful pursuit, that's when achievement becomes possible. Think about the people we admire most, the leaders, the inventors, the creators, the athletes. Their achievements didn't come because they lived scattered lives. They came because at some point they locked in on a goal and gave it everything. Thomas Edison wasn't trying to be everything to everyone. He focused on solving problems with light and electricity. That focus led to invention. An athlete who wins a gold medal isn't trying to master 10 sports. He focuses on one. That focus leads to victory. Achievement always requires sacrifice. To focus on one thing, you must say no to others. You can't chase every opportunity, answer every distraction, or please every person if you want to achieve something great. Focus demands that you narrow your vision. You decide what matters most, and you let the rest fall away. That's not loss, that's wisdom. Because by giving your best energy to one goal, you open the door to success in that area. Now here's the challenge. Achievement doesn't come instantly. Focused effort feels slow at times. You may not see progress in the first day, the first week, or even the first month. But keep pressing. Keep showing up. Because focus compounds. Every day of consistent effort stacks on the last until suddenly results appear. What once seemed impossible begins to take shape. This is how books are written, businesses are built, and lives are transformed. Not overnight, but through steady focus. Another truth is that achievement brings fulfillment. Many people chase balance and end up with a life full of half-finished projects and half-hearted results. That doesn't satisfy the soul. But when you focus and achieve something, a finished book, a completed degree, a transformed body, a thriving business, you feel a deep sense of accomplishment. That's the reward of focus. It gives you evidence that your effort mattered. Achievement also builds confidence. Each time you achieve something, you prove to yourself that focus works. You begin to trust your ability to set goals and reach them. That confidence becomes fuel for bigger dreams. Soon, what once looked impossible becomes your new normal. That's the power of achievement. It multiplies your belief in yourself. But let me remind you, achievement is not just about trophies, money, or recognition. True achievement is progress toward your purpose. For one person, achievement might mean raising a strong family. For another, it might mean serving a community. For another, it might mean creating art or teaching others. A focus allows you to achieve not just what looks impressive to others, but what truly matters to you. At the end of life, people don't regret the things they achieved with focus. They regret the times they let distraction steal their potential. They regret the scattered years, the wasted energy, the missed opportunities. But no one regrets having directed their focus towards something meaningful and seeing it through. So remember, focus leads to achievement. Not balance, not busyness, not scattered effort. Focus. Decide what matters, give it your best, and keep going until the results come. That is how you build a life not just of activity, but of true accomplishment.